I'd like to thank Theo Lawson. He did very well. Very well.
Interesting.
Putting it together.
Interesting.
If we had more engagements like that across it just brought an idea to me that maybe it's time some of us who consider ourselves people like myself, Rufai, Ruben, and so on and so forth, maybe now is the time for us to get together and go local government by local government to enlighten our people, so that it's important to enlighten our people about what kind of governance they should be having, especially now that 2027 is around the corner.
How to vote?
It's something. Yes, we will try to do that. Maybe do market interactions and so on and so forth. Not anything political, no, but just to enlighten them.
Of course,
to enlighten them, especially this thing you call Robin Hood politics, where you elect a politician, he goes grab everything at the center and pays tithes to you and takes the rest to himself. There's a need for us to let our people understand such a man is not generous, he's a thief, and he has denied you. But that's not what we are here to do. So let's before I go on the rant.
Interesting. So did any was the discussions last night, of a personal nature, political nature?
It was no holds barred. People asked me all kinds of questions, including questions on the stray bullet and forget that.
On yesterday's stray bullet. We need to find someone to be hit. We need to find someone to receive the hit.
Yeah. But it was nice.
Interesting. I wish it held on a weekend.
No, it was just a quiet evening from 7 by 10. It was all over. People could go.
Right. Let's get to the papers. We start with the news page on today's Guardian. Page 6, desperate Nigerians lose over 1.7 trillion naira to Ponzi schemes in 9 years. Groups allege international conspiracy. Experts blame high poverty, unemployment for indulgence in schemes.
I'm sorry to say this, it might appear that maybe I'm a bit insensitive, but anybody who loses money in a Ponzi scheme in 2025 has himself to blame, and it serves them right. There is no easy way to wealth. The only way that is prescribed by nature is through hard work. All these so-called if it was that easy to make money, the country would be flooding with millionaires. So apparently now, listen to what the Guardian says. The Guardian says that grief, shock, and regret has overwhelmed thousands of Nigerians after CBEX, a once-celebrated digital asset platform, vanished into thin air, taking with it an estimated 1.4 trillion in life savings, pensions, and borrowed hope. Already, the collapse has passed as the biggest Ponzi scam so far recorded in the country. I've always counseled our people. Anything that looks so attractive and so easy. I've had people say, when I invested, they say they buy rice and whatever, and they share this at the end of the year. It is called pyramid. What they do is to suck you in, give you incentives as you move on, and at that time when you think you're so confident, okay, so let's say they start with 500,000, then you invest $1 million, then when you think that, my life savings, if I can put this 10 million down, that is the time they hit you for 6. And so I plead with you, please, avoid all these Ponzi schemes. It says the collapse has passed as the biggest Ponzi scam, added to an estimated 300 billion naira lost previously. Nigerians may have had 1.7 trillion swept away by Ponzi scheme in 9 years. Now, CBEX is a digital asset, or is supposed to be a digital asset trading platform that lured thousands with guarantees of high returns. On Monday, it just froze. So what they do is they build up the pyramid. These people can put up a performance for 5 years, give themselves a 5-year target before they hit you for 6 and disappear with everything.
Are you speaking from experience?
Yes, now. Not that I've taken part of.
Okay.
No, I've never. I don't even have that luck anyway. I don't have luck with things like gambling and so on and so forth. The day I went to play tombola, even after I had won, I didn't know I had won. I was busy talking to somebody. They say and your number has been called. I don't believe in such things.
Lotto, nothing.
No, I don't play any of those things. I don't have there's nothing wrong in playing legitimate gambling and so on and so forth. But it's not know thyself, not the kill person. I don't have that kind of luck. Nothing is certain about the exact number of Nigerians on the network or the total value of funds trapped. But reports put the loss at about 1.4 trillion. The Vanguard could not independently verify as of press time. A cryptocurrency expert, Taiwo Wolabi, had in a recent report claimed that approximately $847 million was diverted from CBEX to private wallets. At the prevailing exchange rate of 1650 per dollar, the value comes to 1.4 trillion. Owolabi noted that CBEX operated by moving investors' funds through various digital assets and wallets, thereby making it difficult to trace the exact value. I don't know if Mr. Taiwo Wolabi is listening or anybody knows him. I'd love for him to get in touch so that we can bring him here and he can explain in full what has happened. Or if anybody has some very, very good knowledge about this, I'd be more than glad to have them in, possibly on Saturday. So you might want to contact us quickly. The report says that the younger generation who subscribed to the scheme equally lost billions of naira to various cryptocurrency projects. That cryptocurrency I just can't understand, and I never will. It's like the aversion I had to mathematics when I was. I just don't understand it. Keep on the straight and narrow. It will be nice also to have anybody who has lost some money in these schemes could get in touch with us and see if you'd like to tell Nigerians your story. So it's an unfolding drama. Okay, so I sympathize with those who lost it, but look, there is no easy way to wealth. God did not. I'm sure there is somewhere in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs, that they will talk about hard work and wealth. All the Ibi Yemi or something, one of these funny pastors said recently that Jesus Christ never visited poor people at home and that he doesn't like poverty. And I said to myself, oh my God, this is the kind of things that misleads our people. It is not a sin to be poor. And poverty is not the amount of money you have. Poverty is in the mind. I know people who are very, very noble within the little of what they earn. These are distinguished persons. But that's a story for another day. Today is not that.
I can give you a scripture.
What scripture?
It's James 2:20.
You just do that one just now.
Faith without works is dead. So if you have faith, you have to still work it out.
Kofi, you have the quote Bible. Yeah. Just now, you don't get that one.
Faith without
works.
Was
it in your head or you?
Yeah, it's there. It's. I mean,
it is Google.
No, it's even the Bible says that.
You check Google.
that a lazy man, a sluggard will not.
Yeah, there's something wrong with our mindset. Everybody is in a hurry. And there's no. You don't have to be wealthy to live well. That's the funny thing. There are people with millions of money in their accounts. They'd rather trade it away for a happy life. Me, I not get millions. I'm a very happy person.
There's a scripture for that. Godliness with contentment is great gain.
Prophet Kofi is around the corner. Yeah, let's go to
you give an offering. Let's start from the back. All right. We go to the next paper, page 14 of today's Vanguard. By the way, we'll talk about that by 8 o'clock on the morning crossfire.
What's this?
Yes, a Ponzi scheme.
Yes, but please, I'd like
on Saturday it will be.
Yeah, I'd like to get in touch with Mr. Taiwo Wolabi. Please, I'd be more than glad to have him here on Saturday.
Right. Why addicted mobile device users may suffer deplorable eye health, eye strain, blood vision, headache are symptoms. Michael, what are we going to do?
Yes, let me first of all say that the stories you have today deliberately have been picked deliberately because outside politics, there are certain things that concern us for our everyday living that we need to pay attention to. And when I saw this story hidden in page 14 of the Vanguard, I said, I need to bring the attention of our people to this. And what he's talking about is that mobile, if you're addicted like I am, let me confess quickly, to mobile devices, computers, phones, and so on and so forth, you have to be very, very careful with your eyes. You have to be very, very careful about your eyes. In today's hyper-connected, and this is written by Juliet Umen, in today's hyper-connected world, devices, especially smartphones, have become indispensable companions. Okay, and it says that many Nigerians, studies indicate that many Nigerians are grappling with a silent but growing health crisis, a rise in vision problems linked to excessive screen time. Okay, except some people spend so much time on the phones, like you toss and turn, you can't sleep at night. 1 o'clock you pick up your phones, as at 5:30 in the morning when the alarm goes on, you're still browsing, you're still sending mails, you're doing all kinds of things. You are joking with the health, with your eyes. You're joking with the eyes. It says from children glued to smartphones to adults working long hours on laptops, the nation's increasing dependence on digital service is impacting health. A recent study by the NCC titled Study on Young Children and Digital Technology, it revealed that children spend between 3 and 10 hours daily in front of the screens. Adults spend more in the course of work and in the course of play. This screen includes watching TV, playing video games, browsing the internet, and so on and so forth. The NCC warns that this digital overexposure is contributing to a rise in what it terms technology addiction disorder. I think I have something like that. And I'm being very serious now. I think no, I'm not joking now.
All right.
I think, and you need to check yourself. I kept saying this thing. I think I have something like that, and I'm going to get myself checked out.
Technology?
Because 1 second, please. Yeah. Every minute I'm picking up the phone, I'm looking at the phone. You don't rest your eyes, you don't rest your brain, and I'm sure I might have to pay for it. Maybe the problem I have with my eyes, for example, might not necessarily be old age. So I'd like you to check yourself out. Okay? Check yourself out and make sure that you're not doing more harm to yourself. It talks about digital eye strain or computer vision syndrome and is increasingly prevalent, particularly amongst the younger generation. Okay, a gentleman called Akin Ibitoye says that each generation's screen attachment intensifies from baby boomers' late adoption to Gen Z and Alpha's device native existence. The prolonged strain at these strains are eyed, leading to often overlooked symptoms like dryness, blurred vision, and headaches. Okay. And also it says a primary culprit is the blue light. Now there are these funny blue lights put in homes. I think they are ultraviolet lights. I avoid those things like the plague.
Also blue lights on the screen.
All those blue lights on the screen, all these blue lights you have in clubs and this and that, I avoid them, and I think you should. A primary culprit is blue light, the high energy visible HEV light emitted by screens. Using devices in bed disrupts sleep due to blue light interference with our natural sleep rhythm. It mimics sunlight, confusing our internal clock. So let's all be careful. Despite the severity, Ibitoye recommends simple protective measures. The 20-20-20 rules: every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away for 20 seconds to relax your eyes. He also emphasizes blinking, noting screen focus reduces our normal 20 blinks per minute to 5 blinks, causing dryness. Look, we'll try to get an expert, Kofi, if you can, for your program. I'll also try to get, but please let's be very, very careful. Let's be very, very careful. A lot of us are suffering from addiction. It's not a bad thing. It's not something to be ashamed about. I think I'm going to admit mine. because every second I'm looking at the phone. I make the excuse that, because of my job and so on and so forth, I must know what's going on. But the honest to God truth is that it's an addiction, and I'm going to jolly well do something about it before it destroys me. Yes.
What's the condition called again, so people can know what to ask for when they go check?
Just go. All you need to do is
mention something.
Yes, I to go through it again. I have to read through.
All right.
But just take a walk down to your psychiatrist or whatever. Go to an expert. This is not a matter of deliverance. This is not a matter of bidi taking 7 days fast, drive fast. No. Go talk to a professional. Just have a chat. You see, the time has come in this world where we need to do what I grew up to know in the Western world. The average person needs a shrink because of the pressure that you have in the world.
Psychologists.
We call psychologists, yes, but we call them the street name for them as shrinks. You need to pay a visit to your shrink at least twice a year.
Do you?
Yes, I do now.
You visit a psychiatrist?
My shrink, unfortunately, he died. He died, Dr. Fari. He died. Of course, I do that. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. You should really do. To keep yourself on the straight and narrow. The pressures we face in this current world, from not in the first instance not sleeping well because of security, noise, and all these things. That's why I suspect, and that's one of the things we discussed yesterday at Freedom Park. I suspect that maybe that's why the thinking of certain persons has gone haywire. Not that they are mad or crazy or anything, but with the kind of pressures we have in the world today, and especially those of us that do this kind of job, you shouldn't be too ashamed to spend 10-15 minutes with your shrink just to make sure you're on the straight and narrow.
Uncle Jimmy, this job, I speak to people, and those who come in younger ones, I tell them this particular mode of broadcast journalism messes with your mind.
It does.
It messes with your mind.
It does. Not be saying you're crazy,
no,
but it does.
You know,
it does.
You can become very argumentative.
Not just that.
We
have. It's not fair to mention names. So we've had 1 or 2 casualties that I've seen on the job. But look, let's go ahead.
Uncle Jimmy, maybe you're my shrink right now. I have to sit down and tell myself the job has affected.
Yeah, it has.
It has. I mean, we deal with facts. Today, you can't come and tell me how. I look at everything from a logical, factual point of view. If it's because we criticize every day, we are critics. For want of a better word.
No, that's not. That one is in the course of the job. There are other things. Being bombarded with bad news every day.
Jimmy,
it can lead to all kinds of
things.
It can lead to depression and so on. Kofi, let's go to the next story, please.
So it has its effects. You talked about depression. You talked about bombarded with news, bad news every day. But I'm telling you that apart from that, always having to look at things from the factual standpoint, sometimes, it has its own effect.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's.
Sorry, you're the shrink right now, and
I'm not. Go to the next.
Oh my God! You used the cricket term the other time, and I was thinking people may want to.
What's the cricket term?
For 6? Yeah. Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. All right. Family torn apart by estate dispute alleges police intimidation. Here we go again.
Yes, we spoke about this yesterday, and I'm really, really concerned. And I think my friends who are lawyers, Candy Johnson, Libros, all these gentlemen, with the police, we need to get together to find out what should be the level of police interference in personal and family disputes and civil disputes. The line doesn't seem to have been drawn. Yesterday we had the case of Portable and one guy called Oshupa, whatever it is, and who got him picked up because he thought he defamed him. All he needed was to get his lawyers to write. I wonder who are these DPOs that lock these people up. It looks like in Nigeria you can just get anybody locked up, and that really must stop. If, for example, what I think my common sense tells me is that if you file a petition against somebody, that person should, in the first instance, be invited and should be interrogated by a senior police officer. who would then give the proper advice as to whether it's a civil or criminal. But to keep locking people up and tell them to go, I think there's some element of extortion in all this. There's some. I'd like the commissioner of police, sir. Could you please take around all your stations and see how many people are locked up in the stations and for what? The notable areas this could happen would be CID. What's the name of this one at Panti? A lot of so-called cases of fraud and this and that. Sometimes it's two people knowing each other. And this ideally should be civil suits. I like the human rights organizations, civil liberties or whatever they call some of them, to take a ride down to places like Panti and see how many people are languishing in jail because of things that really should be of the civil nature. So this one says that a dispute over the administration of Chief Abiodun Smith Estate has torn his family apart, with some members alleging police intimidation and threats to life. Let's listen to this experience by one of them. He said, when I arrived at Zone 2, they informed me that an estate agent had written a petition against me. However, I don't know this agent and have never met him. The agent claimed that the family property had been handed over to him for management on behalf of the family. He stated that tenants were refusing to cooperate with him, saying they would do so in my presence. The agent requested police accompaniment to compel the tenants to cooperate. Okay? He said, after listening to the police, I asked when it had become police responsibility to dabble or decide on what to do in a family matter of this nature. I was threatened and coerced to dance to the dictates of the police and unknown agent purportedly contracted by unknown family members. I'd like the police authorities to please look into this. I'd like victims, one or two victims who've been involved in things like this, to please head to the courts and let's make an example out of certain people. Because at the end of the day, what we are seeing is a form of extortion that is building up and is almost going out of control. What about the law that says people should not be locked up for more than 24 hours? You go to the various police stations, you're not careful, some people have been there for a week. Maybe because they can't meet what the so-called administrative bail. I heard that there's some form of bail. I think it was Showore or somebody I was listening to, and he was told to go get a civil servant at level 16, which is level 16, and who had property or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not sure of the real issue, the real conditions here. But there's a need to look into this. Oh, by the way, in case you don't know, Friday and Monday are public holidays. It's stated here that the federal government declares Friday and Monday public holidays. Friday is the day for Free John. You know what Free John is? You don't? Okay. For Catholics, so Friday is the day for Free John. In case you have a question, get your bowls ready.
Bowls? No,
it's not Catholic. It's more of a Lagos tradition.
What happens?
Saro tradition. No, they just eat a system called, it's made of beans and coconut water and so on and so forth. Eating once a year.
I like to try.
Well, I can order one for you if you do, but you
beans
pay
and coconut,
for it.
okay. Water.
That
sounds strange.
You will have to pay for it.
It sounds like something that will turn my belly. Is it this way? You cook?
Turn the belly. Sorry?
You cook?
Why not?
Interesting.
You might not like it, but I like what I cook.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, let's move to another story. This is quite interesting. On page 29 of today's The Guardian, Natasha's sexual harassment allegation watery, contradictory, says Agbakoba. Proposes reconciliation approach to resolve dispute.
Well, it's Agbakoba is a lawyer to Akpabio, and he's all over the newspapers today, and he says that the allegation, Natasha's allegation against Senator Akpabio is watery and has contradictions and so on and so forth. And I agree with him, there's hardly anything that won't have contradiction. But can I call on the Senate President to directly sue Natasha so that this thing can be resolved in the court.
Really?
Yes, he didn't. If he's sure that it's watery and he's sure that there's nothing to it, he should sue her and go to the court so that it can be resolved in open court. That I would love. So there's no point coming to tell us on the pages of newspaper that is watery, is this and that. This Akpakoba should tell his client to sue the woman. Yeah, that's it. To sue. It's not there's nothing in the world. What I've said now, for example, can be interpreted in many ways, and of course would have contradictions. I don't have a problem with that, but I think I would feel much better if Akpabio, and indeed, if I were him, you wouldn't. If I felt defamed, I wouldn't just sit down and hide. I wouldn't just sit down and make maneuvers that are not so clear. I would sue the woman. Say, come and prove that I this is what I did. Because one of the arguments here says that if something says something to the effect that if you claim that on one day you are sexually harassed and the second day you are showering encomiums, and is that the word? Encomiums on the person on Akpabio in this particular case is a contradiction. I don't think so. You might want to be polite publicly, but you might be hurting inside. I don't see that as a contradiction, but that is neither here or there. We would want the president of the Senate to sue Natasha so that we can have closure on this thing. That for me is, and he hasn't done that. Rather, it's his wife that sued.
All right. For want of time, let's move quickly to the next one. So, all others mourn as renowned cartoonist Obey S passes on at 68.
I just saw that this morning. And this is the brother of Taiwo Obey. Obey S is in the days when we had cartoons in newspapers. He was with BC, Egubadejo, and so on and so forth in The Guardian. Obey S was one of the cartoonists that you look forward to. Unfortunately, he has passed away. And his brother is Taiwo Obey, who is my colleague. Also worked in The Guardian way back then. He was widely regarded as a master of the medium, using his pen as a tool for truth and change. My condolences to the Obey family, and especially to Taiwo Obey. Governor Sowolu, in a condolence message, described the cartoonist's death as a great loss to the media industry. Right. It's a pity that cartoons seem to be becoming relics in the media these days.
Yeah, I remember bingo of those days. NFF says Hornets Nest as Amo fights back and thinks about unpaid salaries and bonuses.
Yeah, the controversy over Christian Chukwu being owed is not going to go down. And one of his colleagues, Amo, is also talking about unpaid salaries and bonuses. And like I promised, we will get to the root of it. We'll get some of the sports gurus to give us an insight into what actually has gone down in the case of Christian Chukwu and all other footballers who have put this country in good light and haven't much to show for it.
Right.
We will do that.
Today is Wednesday. The Abume is back.
Yeah,
some juicy stories here. My husband moved in.
My husband moved in with a lover. How? Can I have a paternity test without my husband's knowledge? And so on and so forth. And there's also the story of one reggae who says that my husband spikes my drinks. It will be interesting.
What?
9 o'clock.
Why would a husband spike a drink? Uncle Jimi,
mischief.
This world is not our own. We're just passing through.
See, you are just passing through. I am just passing through.
I'll leave us with one scripture since you asked me for scriptures. What shall it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? All right, he'll be back. He'll be back. 9 o'clock, he'll be back. Up next, the Morning Crosser continues to look at Ponzi schemes. Why are Nigerians still falling for get-rich quick schemes, even those who have fallen before? The news and is up next.
This isn't a Game of Thrones. It's the game of information.
The German foreign minister went to Beijing to reaffirm that Europe would not let China invade Taiwan.
And more
information.
Government can't keep taking the fall for your own mess, for your own mistakes.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.